Good morning. So this morning I wanted to show you probably one of the first things you want to do when you get a Brompton is put a rack on there and put some decent wheels. The wheels that come with the Brompton, they're really kind of horrible plasticky things. If you ever try kind of wheeling them around, there's only 3 wheels on there, so it's really unstable. And they're just plastic, they don't roll very well. So it's a real shame Brompton actually don't upgrade these and get some decent wheels really. There's lots of solutions out there for people, and anyway, we won't harp on about that. But the first thing, so changing the wheels and getting a rack. So I've got a rack here. It's a non-Brompton rack. So here you go. So this rack here, you can get it from Amazon or AliExpress, whatever their different price ranges. And I'll leave the details of the one that I've got online so you can have a look at. So now we're going to go through, use this it's kind of, I'm going to say it's about 100 grams, very, very light. So kind of a lot lighter than the equivalent, well, the special Brompton one. So this is going to go kind of on here like this, something like that. So there's a few things we've got to do to get started on that to make this happen. So I guess the first thing we've got to do is make sure you've got the tools to do it. So coming over here, you want some, I mean, you could use the Brompton little toolkit spanners, but really these are going to make your life a lot easier. If you've got 2 8mm spanners, that's going to make your life a lot easier, and a decent 15mm, and also like this style as well is going to make your life a lot easier, and a few Allen keys. So I guess most of you probably got Allen keys. If you work on bikes, you've probably got the Allen keys. I've got to reserve here a little box of mini sockets, but I don't think I'm going to need that, and some extra bolts here as well that I've got as well if I need those. So that's kind of it, and also some Loctite. Oh, I've got to find it somewhere. So that's when you're working on your bike, it's good to kind of put some Loctite on there, and buy the, what is it now? Buy the blue kind. That's kind of locking, but it doesn't need heat to release it. So don't go for the red one, go for the blue one. It will help kind of your bolts to stay in place, not rattle and loosen off there. So that's really great. So the first thing I've got to do on here really is the reflector's got to come off. So this comes off on here from, you'll see this bolt here with a stopper on it. I'll show you in a minute how that's going to work. And then this reflector will come off of here, and then we'll put it somewhere else. And this wheel here as well. This wheel here is going to hit the back of, hit the back here, where the reflector is going to go. So that's got to come off, this little wheel here, which is no great loss because it's rubbish really. It kind of it fits on. Well, I shouldn't say it's rubbish. It's functional, but really there are better solutions. Like it's fitting onto a kind of a plasticky mudguard there. You wouldn't want to put too much weight on that, quite honestly, and it doesn't roll very well. And plus you've got 3 wheels, it's kind of wobbly. So that's going to come off of there, and we're going to put 4 wheels on here. And we've actually gone out and bought, these are roller skate wheels here. These cost £6 from Decathlon, and they're fantastic. They've got their own bearings inside there. Got some longer bolts, which I'll list down at the bottom description to use for them. They've got their own internal bearings. They're just fantastic. So we'll put those on and replace the plasticky ones in the Brompton. So I'll go ahead now and show you the first little bits of taking off the reflector and also the rear wheel. So here we go, next step. Okay, so the first bit really on here to do is I've just tweaked that a little bit loose with a 8mm spanner, sorry, a 15mm spanner. So it's kind of finger tight on here. So then we can now loosen this off on here, and the reflector then will come off of here. And so yeah, bits. There's a couple of washers on here as well, so bits are going to kind of release as we do that. This, by the way, this stopper here, this actually stops the seat post from dragging on the ground. So it's like a stopper for that, which I can show you later on here. So here we go. So this can come out from here. Take that off. And the reflector can go off from here. There you go. So we can use that later. And now you see we've got 2 washers on there and a spacer, and this is where our rack's going to go into on here. So that's great on there. Next, I'll show you the wheel to come off. So this has got to come off from these 2 Allen key screws on here. So there'll be a nut underneath and we'll just put the correct size Allen here, and we'll take this off. So I'll just kind of put this down now and just kind of give you a rough idea how I'm going to do it. Coming a bit closer. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of loosen this off on here, put my finger underneath. Oops, wrong size, the right size on there. Put the right size. Okay, that's the first nut that's on the floor. I did actually put a blanket down to try and catch them, but it seems as though it didn't quite work. Okay, so those are now off on there. That's great. So I'll keep those two there. Now I'll go and retrieve, if I can, then the nut. So basically, just going to put these through here now. Got a little washer that you got on there as well. I'm going to put these through here now. And again, so with your finger now, you're going to put your finger inside here and just hold on the nut on while you tighten it up. It's a really good trick on here when you're doing this, so you can get your fingers underneath. So you just deflate the tires on here, and you need to get your finger underneath here and hold that in place. So basically, get your Allen key ready on here. So that's the one that I want, and then you can just put this through on here, and then with your finger, then because the tire is deflated now, you can actually get your finger underneath here and then tighten it up. So that's the trick, really, is to deflate the tire, and then you can get your finger under. Sorry, I got the washer on the wrong way there. On there, and tighten it up. So I'll go ahead and do that. So you can see the two nuts on there. So once you've deflated the tire, you'll find that you can get your fingers in here quite easily. Great. So there's those two Allen keys there all tightened up. So again, just put your fingers underneath here. That's all good. So we've also got our reflector missing. So now we're ready to actually loosen off the bolts on here and on the other side here as well. Just there. Again, these are the same size. These are the 8mm. So we'll take those off there now, and then we'll show you the rack going on. Great. Well, there you go. So if you've got two 8mm spanners here, it's going to make your life a lot easier, really. So if you can borrow some from somebody, or I mean, you could use the Brompton in the toolkit, but two is really, really useful. So one on here, just kind of untorque those. At some point, you should just spring free on there. Okay, that's finger tight now. And basically do the same to the other side. I won't show you the other side because that's going to be the same thing. So basically just do the same thing to the other side there. Then you can pull out your bolt here. What we're going to do then, we're actually going to replace these with because we've got a bigger, wider frame here, or a frame going through those. We're going to replace it with a 30mm, same stainless steel design. Yeah, so we're going to replace it with the longer one. See, just there. You can just about do it with these, but give it a little bit more torque to be able to use the longer ones. So I'll put the details down on the description about using those. To get ready, I'll do the same on the other side now. So yeah, so exactly the same process on this side here. Whoops. So same process here on this side here. So this, loosen this off and pull out the bolt, ready for putting in the next one. Okay, so the next bit here now is to actually put the rack onto the frame. So first bit here is where there's bolt sticking through here, is just put this on here and loosely put it through so it just sits on there. So what you can do now is actually just see where you've gone through there, through the hole. With your, so we can hold this at the same time as the camera. At the same time here, if you can, holding the camera as well, so it's kind of interesting, but I'm actually going to screw this on here now at the same time. So I'll just put the camera down for a second. Okay, so I just threw that in there very loosely so it can kind of move around because you need a little bit of flex on here now. So that's just on a couple of turns really, just to kind of hold it there so it doesn't fall off. And now we're going to position these. So this is this piece here. Oops. This piece here, where I can find it on the camera. This piece here is going to go on the outside of those three wire holders. So we've got to kind of fit this around here now so as we can get the bolts through. So I'll go through and do that now. It's kind of a two-handed process. So I'll put the camera going. You might see a little bit of me doing it, but it's kind of tricky really when I'm doing it. Okay, so here we go. So with a longer bolt on here, we're going to go through, first of all, through the new rack frame and here. So we're going to line these all up. Here. So you've got to line them up first and then put your bolt through. It'll probably take a few goes to get that actually right. There we go. So we're through now on there. That's great. And now we're going to do the same thing here again. We're going to very loosely put this on so it doesn't come off. Because we are actually going to put some Loctite on here as well in a little while. There you go. So that's just holding it in place very loosely. I don't know if this will work now on this side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side there really. So nothing much to see there. And I'll switch the camera off for a minute and just do the other side. The next thing now is to get the spanner in here and just tighten that in there. So basically we're going to get the spanner onto here and just tighten that round. Spanner onto here and then tighten that round. So you could use this one here as well. You could use that one there as well. So just tighten that in there. Make sure it's good and tight because that's holding your brakes in place. So you need to get that good and tight and make sure also they're lined up as well, not touching the rim when they're tightened in. So there you go. I'll just tighten those up on there now and that should be good. Right, so they will tighten up in this. It's only just to make sure your brakes are okay. So just with your brake lever, just go through and just check there that you're actually clamping up again. I think it's changed on there. Then it's not rubbing on the wheel, and that is clamping up. That's all looking good on there. So there you go. That's the hard bits really done on there now. Now I'll do the easy bits. So next stage here is to just basically just screw on the reflectors. So there's a bracket here with the holes in. You've got the screws already. They're just going to screw in the back of here, and then you're just going to screw that on the back so your reflectors are all up and running. So that's now the wheel's gone. From here, this fits in perfectly. So you've got a reflector. So I'll just go through and tighten it. They're only two little kind of I think 8mm screws. So easy to. You've got a positive drive there, or you've got the hex head, so you choose what you want to use to tighten that. Anyway, I'll go and do that now. Okay, that's great. So I've got the reflector on here now. That's all tightened up on the two bolts at the back end. You can just about see those on there, so that they tighten up pretty easily. They're into plastic, so you don't over tighten them. Everything's tightened up here. These are tightened up. Again, just go through and just always do a double check on these things, because they're quite important. And that's all good. Now we're ready to put the wheels in. So we'll change these plasticky wheels over on here. 2 on here to change. Put 2 on the back here as well. Then just check it all out. So we're almost at the point now where we're kind of good to go. And of course, finally, put the tyre up. So get on and do that now. So yeah, so just remove these. I'll just show you how they're made as well. There's kind of a bush they roll on. So they really are quite kind of cheapy design. So really, so there's your thread there that goes on. This is the old one. And there's a bush here that kind of goes through. So really not a great mechanical solution, quite honestly. Anyway, they're going, and what's going on now are a rubber. So I've got longer screws here. I'll show you. There's actually a description now of where to get these from and what size they are. So put those on here now. A little bit of Loctite on here as well, just to seal them in. And there we go. So I'll do all 4 of those. Process going here. Gently put them in. Put a little bit of Loctite on either end here, just enough to cover the thread, and then tighten them in, and then you're all good, and they'll be secure and they won't come off. Great. So these are the bits here you're going to have left over. So you get your back wheel here, 2 side wheels on there, and your bracket, which you don't need any longer for, which you've replaced on the reflector here. So that's all good. So just hang on to those. Who knows, they can be useful in the future as backups or whatever there. So yeah, so that's great. So wheels on, reflector on, all tightened up on here. That's great. all tightened up also on here. Happy with that. Brakes are all working fine. So there you go. That's how to put a rack on your Brompton. So that'll be easy to wheel around. You know, you can go around train stations, supermarkets. You can put some stuff on here. It's all good, and it will roll easily, and it'll be stable. It's not going to kind of fall over when you kind of push it gently. So that's great. And these wheels are great because they're not too frictionless. A little bit of friction in the bearings, that means it's not going to run away from you at a train station. So it should kind of stand still by itself. But when you pull it, because it's on bearings, it's going to move really nicely, and it's on nice rubber tires, so it'll kind of grip and it will hold well. So there you go. Go out there and get yourself a nice rack. This is probably a 100-gram rack, maybe another kind of 50 grams for the tires on there. So you've got a lightweight, strong rack. Go out first time, be careful, and go somewhere quiet. Don't go on a busy road. Go somewhere quiet. Check your work and be safe. There you go. Thanks for watching now.